Hello everyone. Hey, thank you so much for all the subs and everything. There's a lot happening right now when I'm just looking at the chat. Yeah, that's awesome. Now we are Twitch affiliates, so you can subscribe. It's crazy. But yeah, so today we're going to start off with a feedback session. We have a couple people. So let me go ahead and screen share. Here you go. Hopefully you guys can see my screen and everything. So cool. First we have AJ. And let me just open this up. Cool. Oh, actually give me 1 second. Make sure I have everyone's notes that they sent me stuff. I realized I just closed Discord, so I can't see it yet. Give me 1 minute. Let's see, feedback. So it looks like today we'll have cool. AJ and then Eub, and then we'll have Sanjana. Alright. So first up we have AJ, and we have a new shot, which is exciting. Okay, cool. So let me just kind of watch it through again. I remember I watched it a little bit earlier, but just want to watch it through and give you kind of my thoughts about everything.
I'm sorry, and if it is any consolation, I have heartburn that is radiating to my kneecaps, and I haven't taken a dump since Wednesday morning.
I love this audio. It's really fun.
I'm sorry, and if it is any consolation, I have heartburn that is radiating to my kneecaps, and I haven't taken a dump since Wednesday morning.
That's great. And the music behind it, I always love when there's like a good like little music thing behind the dialogue. Sometimes it's a pain because you have to either take it out or it conflicts with what you're trying to do, but sometimes when it's like this, it's fun. Let me look. You also said you have reference too, so that will dictate a lot about how it reads.
I'm sorry, and if it is any consolation, I have heartburn that is radiating to my kneecaps, and I haven't taken a dump since Wednesday morning.
That was great. There was some acting performance down here that was really
I'm sorry, and if it is any consolation, I have heartburn that is radiating to my kneecaps, and I haven't taken a dump since Wednesday morning.
Nice. So I think like my first thought overall, just kind of like a general note. First off, I love the shot idea. It's fun. The dialogue is really good. I like the choices of, especially when she says, I'm sorry, like she kind of does that little breath, and that'll be fun to animate too. The only thing that like I would say overall with your reference that it's not necessarily it's not reading to me, but it's just I think you should pick a direction and go for it. So like here you say she looks unsincerely apologetic, right? So to me there's 2 ways you can play this line, right? Either she's being very sarcastic the entire time, like I'm sorry, but like, and she's trying to play that off, or she is genuinely just like frazzled and being like, I'm sorry, like I would pick one or the other, because right now I'm kind of getting both of those feelings from your reference when I just watch it through.
I'm sorry, and if it is
like here, this performance especially like in the middle here, she's like, I'm sorry, like she genuinely comes off to me as frazzled, and she's just trying to get through the day. Like, this is a waitress that's been through it. Maybe she had a crazy day, and she's just like, this is the best I could do, you know? And my life's been crazy, too, my personal life. So she's trying to empathize and just kind of, like, spilling her guts to this customer. And then here, more of, like, your performances, I'm getting more of that feeling that you wrote of, like, she's being unsincere. She's just kind of like, it is what it is. Here's your food. I don't care. But let me make up a story to try to help you smooth things over. So I would just pick one or the other and lean into that a lot. I kind of like the idea in a way of her being more frazzled, of kind of what she's doing in these reference takes.
I'm sorry.
I love this. This is really fun. And she looks, and you have that like internal dialogue moment of her going, I'm sorry. It's fun because she's thinking about it. You get the feeling that she's thinking before she does an action.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, and if it is any consolation, I have heartburn that is radiating to my kneecaps, and I haven't taken a dump.
Also, this is a phenomenal move. And like, you can really see her tongue hit that in. It's kind of a fun acting thing.
My kneecaps, and I haven't taken a dump since Wednesday morning. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, and if it is any consolation, I have heartburn that is radiating to my kneecaps, and I haven't taken a dump since Wednesday.
One thing I would say to be careful of, especially watching your references over here, like if you go with one of those, you're very much in the same pose. And it also depends on what kind of style and animation you're going for, but I would always say to avoid that as much as you can of like a character just kind of acting in the same pose, unless you're doing a subtle shot. Sometimes even then you try to want to get at least one pose change or doing something different, but right now it just kind of feels like you're acting here, like acting within the body, which can be okay for some shots, but as a general rule of thumb, especially with this audio, because it's so fun and there's lots of intonations in the way that she uses her voice that you could really punch it with a gesture or a movement. And she's standing, right? So you have some leeway of where you can move around in the scene. You can have the character be doing things and moving.
I'm sorry.
Like, she does it better here in this one.
Right, and if it is any consolation, I have heartburn that is radiating to my kneecap.
Like, this space right here, she's and radiating through my kneecaps. I want to see, like, a big move there. Or just her moving in screen somewhere, because right now she does do like a little step to the side, and I think this is a cool idea. I would just punch it more, because what did she say?
Any consolation, I have heartburn that is radiating my.
Maybe she's like, if it's any consolation, I have heartburn that is radiating, and maybe she does something like she really moves side to side, or she really goes down like with her whole cog, kind of like points to her knees, or like does something that's just a bit different. Just to get some variety and movement.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And if it is any consolation, I have. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And if it is any consolation,
And so basically, like, it just depends on how you. I'm not sure if you're here, AJ, but if you are, maybe you can tell me. But if not, just something to think about. I would really set the intention if you want her to be sarcastic through this entire thing. That's going to change your acting choices a bit, because like I said, I'm getting feelings of both, of she's being sarcastic at some points, but then like she genuinely feels frazzled and apologetic at some points. So because like even this first bit, right?
I'm sorry.
You could play this of her going like, maybe it pans up and she's just like looking at it, maybe her arms are crossed and she just kind of like, I'm sorry, right? That's more of just despondent. She doesn't care. She's like, I'm sorry. Or if she's really sincere, this reference down here, I feel more sincerity of she's like, oh no, I messed up. My job, they're going to fire me, or, the cook's going to fire me, or this customer's going to have a complaint. She's like, I'm sorry. Like, that looks frazzled to me and kind of genuine. So I would just kind of keep that in mind going forward, maybe doing, or even trying different ones. Oh, hi, AJ. But yeah, maybe even trying 2 different rough takes of completely different ideas of you have the same dialogue, but maybe one she's totally sincere and being, frazzled and feeling like she's going to lose her job and like just trying to verbally vomit all these things to this poor customer that's just sitting there. Or you have one that she's very much like, I'm sorry, and she's being sarcastic. So I might just play around with that a bit, because right now I'm not getting a really strong feeling towards either. So
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And if it is any consolation, I have.
And there's something, I don't know why, because before you set your references in, I just saw this, like the drawing that you did, which I love so much. And I don't know if it's what you're wanting in the drawing, because I know it's just a quick sketch, but it almost feels like her hands are on the table, and she's like, I'm sorry. Like, I kind of like that. That it would be fun to possibly do a take where she's got her hands on the table, because also it's nice she's interacting with the prop. And like, before this pan up, if the food's here or whatever, and then her hands, my gorgeous hand poses, but like her hands are right here, so that way you know that she's already there, as this is your establishing shot. And then she's got sincerity and genuine apology. Okay, yeah, I love that because it could be fun if she's like more frazzled, right? Of like, oh no, I'm sorry. Like she's just kind of all over the place. I think that would be a fun way to play it. But I think this could be kind of fun, like your storyboard that you have. You know, her hands are there. You can see that in this first shot of the food, whatever. Maybe it would pan up a little bit earlier too.
I'm sorry.
Like maybe it would pan up like here is when it would start to like pan up to her, and then you have a beat before she's like looking at the food. You could get a really funny expression of like, you know, I'm gonna tilt my camera, this is dangerous, but I'm gonna act it out. But basically she's got her hands on the table, right? She's like this. You could have a moment of it pans up and she's like, oh no, what did I do? Oh, I'm gonna get fired. And then she's like, I'm sorry. Like maybe she just kind of hunches and she's like, oh no, just using the table to your advantage and kind of having a moment where you see that internal dialogue. I think that could be a really fun beat of it pans up, you give her a beat of it, her just like staring or being like, oh no, rethinking her entire life and kind of going through. I think that could be fun because then after this she goes in that verbal vomiting like tangent of all the things of she's had heartburn that she could feel in her knees. I mean, she's got all those things going on, so I think that could be kind of fun to show a little bit of that in the subtext of her thinking all that through of all the stuff she's had to deal with this week, and she is just about to lose it. And so she's standing there thinking about all those things. I've had heartburn, I haven't taken a dump since Wednesday, or whatever she says, like all those things in her head. And then all of a sudden she's like, I'm sorry, because this is her last chance. Maybe she's about to lose her job, maybe she hasn't been doing great at this waitressing gig, and now she's having to like smooth things over as much as she can before she gets fired or the customer complains too much. And then she just, because she's nervous, she just starts saying all these things. I think that could be a fun way to play it. So maybe try a ref take that's a little bit closer to your storyboard. I think that could be fun because there's something really appealing about this first shot of her hands on the table. You see the disgusting, insane food, very messy, crazy. And then it goes up to kind of like this face. And there could be a face of just like, oh, before she goes into this, of like, I'm sorry, you know. So I might try something like that, of some kind of reference where, one, you're matching the storyboard just for fun to see how that feels, and then two, you're doing one that's, since you said like you're going with more sincerity and genuine apology and her just being frazzled, you could do a bit of both of those things. So I think that would be fun to possibly reshoot reference with those intentions and lean really hard into that acting of her just being frazzled and being like, I don't, you know, I mean, what did she say here?
I'm sorry, and if it is any consolation, I have heartburn that is radiating to my kneecaps, and
especially there, she's like, if it's any consolation, I have heartburn that is radiating in my kneecap. Like, make her feel a little more frantic and like she's thinking 10 words ahead of what she's saying. I think that would be kind of a cool way to play it, of she's just frazzled, but trying to keep it together.
Consolation, I have heartburn that is radiating to my kneecaps, and I haven't taken a dump since Wednesday morning.
And there's something kind of fun about how deadpan that she plays this since Wednesday. She's just kind of like staring off into the void like, Wednesday morning. I think that could be fun. You just have to be really intentional with it, because otherwise it could feel like a dead moment. But I think if you punched up, you know, radiating in my kneecaps, and then she goes into this, I haven't taken a dump since, and I kind of like that, because then it's almost like she's genuinely trying to think of like, when's the last time did she go? And so she's kind of just like, Wednesday morning, and then she's almost frazzled. So I think keep that, but punch up the moment before. Punch up this gesture or whatever she ends up doing here, so that way this has more of an impact. Because right now, like, you know, this part, she's kind of just standing and acting with, like, her hands here. And then she's just standing here, but not acting with her hands, so it just kind of feels similar. So maybe having more movement here of her doing something just, like, with her body, or taking a step, or doing something just to keep her alive apart from just her hands gesturing. And then really punching this and selling this intentionally as Wednesday morning. Like, she's trying to think about it. I think that would be a really fun acting choice.
Wednesday morning.
Let me watch your references here now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, and if it is any consolation, I have heartburn that is radiating to my kneecaps, and I haven't taken a dump since Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, and if it is any consolation, I have heartburn that is radiating to my kneecaps, and I haven't taken a dump.
I like this little gesture here when she goes, radiating my kneecaps. And, like, that's kind of fun. I don't know, something about that is she's almost, like, pleading for words, like, and then she goes into the next
Caps, and I haven't taken a dump since Wednesday morning.
Yeah, she even does the same thing here. I love her acting with this part. Like, she does the same thing of just like, I don't know, like, staring out into the void. And I think it would be really funny to punch that with having a little bit more energy in the first part. I think that would be a cool contrast, too. If you kind of see the slow descent of her, like, this is her breaking point, right? I'm making up this whole story. And if you already have, like, a backstory for her, please stick with that or write a little description about that. But, like, in my head, I'm already making this backstory for her of she's had, like, a really rough week. Maybe she had a breakup she's had to deal with. She's had to deal with medical issues, you know, not taking a dump since Wednesday morning. Or she's, you know, has heartburn. I mean, she's just, like, everything's just irritating. Her life's falling apart. Maybe she's not doing good at work right now. And so she's a little bit worried that she's going to lose her job. So this is just, like, the breaking point of this customer that maybe said something of, you know, their food was bad, and then she looks at the food and it's a hot mess. Or this is just, like, the straw that broke the camel's back for her. And she just basically goes into overdrive of oversharing her life to a customer. So I think that would be fun to kind of, that's a lot, obviously, and when it comes to terms of acting and subtext, you can't really just fit that all in to one shot that's, you know, not that long, but you can hint at it, and it will also help inform your acting choices, right? So if you're thinking all that, and, like, internal dialogue is such an important thing, and, like, Ray Ross is which we interviewed last week, was the biggest person in telling me about internal subtext and dialogue, stuff like that. It helps so much when you're acting out and shooting video reference. If you're thinking all those things and you're getting into that character's head as you start filming, if you're thinking things like that, the whole subtext, the story, what's behind, what's happened before the shot, what happens after the shot, if you're thinking all those things, you always get a more genuine performance. Even if you don't consider yourself, like, a good actor, or if you struggle with acting a lot or shooting reference, if you're thinking all those things and forcing yourself to think through it, and empathizing in a way, you will always get a really good performance out of it, one way or another, even if it's just little chunks that you end up liking from each reference. If you get into it at that moment, you'll like those chunks because it's saying more than just acting out to the dialogue. You're seeing subtext. You're seeing the nervousness come through of, oh, am I going to lose this job? You start to see the irritation come through of, she's just had a terrible week, you know, so getting that in there will help a lot, and I think will push the shot to the next level if you get a little more specificity in the acting. And like you said, so initially I was going with insincere, but I felt the other way around is much better. Yeah, I like it too. I think you could definitely play this insincere, can't speak, of her being more sarcastic and like, I'm sorry, because she kind of has that tone of voice where she could either be really frazzled or she could just be done with this customer and she's just sick of him and she wants him out. So she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Was that, you know, what did she say?
I'm sorry. And if it is any...
Because the way she says any can almost be like pleading, like if it's any consolation, or it could be like, if it's any consolation, she could almost be like talking down to them. So it's fun. That's what's really cool about this audio, and I love it because you can play it both ways, right? Oh, and thank you, yes, for the sub. I appreciate it. That's awesome. So yeah, it just depends on how you want to play it, but I do like the idea a little bit better of having her be more frazzled and sincere about she's just had a terrible week and this just pushed her over the edge. So just a little bit of both. I think it could be fun, but I really like the shot idea. I even like your layout, kind of how you're planning on doing the pan up. That's kind of fun and different. I love this pose in the storyboard too. Like that facial pose is awesome. If you could get that on Aya, that would be cool. But yeah, I think that would be my main notes for you for this. If you have any other questions or anything, feel free to write it now or even message in the Discord. But and yes, thank you for all the support. Appreciate it. So, but yeah, awesome shot. It's going to be really fun. I can't wait to see you start to block this out. It'll be cool. All right. So next we have, if AJ, if you don't have any other questions, I'll go to Eob. Okay. Let me look real quick, make sure I see Eob's notes. Okay, cool. So shot with new ending reference. Hey, new ending reference and worked on since notes. So let's take a look. Nice, okay. Cool. Oh, no worry, AJ. That's all good. Yep, all these are recorded and will be here, so for you to watch later. Nice. Okay, this is looking good. I like the new ending, yeah. Because I think the last one that you had, like, she was angry, right? Yeah, that's right, that's right. And that was Sin's suggestion, right? To make her more, like, they drop, and then she, like, eats them, and it's like, oh, they're so good. I like it. Nice. Only thing that I like right away that I see that I might be a little bit careful about is I'm worried that this very ending here of like this little like side to side head thing feels, where is it? Here. She does this same gesture, like if you watch her here, she kind of does the same side to side, but her hands are down instead of here. So I might see if there's, just because that feels a little bit repetitive, of you want this very end to feel like, oh, it's so yummy, like maybe she does something like that. Maybe she like sinks into it, like, oh, it's so good, and then she's like, like she puts herself up and she's got the food in her hand and she's like pressing on the table, or she has it here and she's just something a little bit different because the gestures feel the same right now. So I might try doing another gesture or movement at the end here to be the same feeling of she's relieved, you know, it's so delicious, she's happy, but doing something different, a little bit different, just to make it so that way you're not having the same kind of gesture or movement twice in your shot. And then let me just go through, like, look at actual Lindsay. I'd watch a little bit eyeline. Right now it kind of looks like she's looking beyond, like at something like here. She looks like she's kind of looking, so I'd converge the eyes a little bit, have them come forward. So maybe like here. Oops. This might be too close together. Yeah, hold on. Maybe something a little, just something so that way she feels like she's looking a little bit closer. So usually bringing those eyes, like converging them, bringing them both in towards the center of her face will help a little bit more feel like she's looking at something a little bit closer. Because when they're wide out, it'll feel like they're looking at something way far away, or they'll start to look wall-eyed, you know, like they're looking, the eyes are looking to either side, so. And then for eyebrows, one thing to always keep in mind is like, think of eyebrows as a single line, right? So if I draw brows, I could draw them, you know, like this, if this was a, you know, face. The eyebrows would be a single line and then just erased in between. Right, this is a bad example, but basically like those brows should always form a line and flow into each other. Think of them as one curve, right? So right now, if you look at her brows, so can I make my eraser bigger? There we go. Right now, her brows, if I'm looking at these inner brows, they're going in two different directions. They're kind of going different ways. So I would try to like round them out a bit, for especially for this beginning facial pose, right? You know, even something like this would be better. You know, just something so that way these brows are like connected and going into each other. Here, same thing with the brows. I try to make them, shape them just a little bit more so that way they're, you know, a little bit rounder, flow into each other well. Oops. Also, I'd watch out for the brows here. I'd have them start coming down a few frames earlier, because right now they feel slow and then they come up and then they go into like this. So have them kind of come down and then up into it. Instead of it being 3 movements, have it be 1 or 2, I mean. So, you know, maybe here it could be, they could come down into this a little bit sooner. So basically they could be coming further. You could even keep that more rounded shape if you want to, since you're going up into like kind of the worry brow, or just like, oh, it's so good, right? So they come down. Because right now here, it feels like just the inner part of the brow is moving up and down, but then the outers are staying like right in place. So moving them down a bit further here, you know, or they could be rounder, you know, something like that. And then going up into this and bringing those outer brows up a little bit will help a lot. Something like that. And also I would just, what I drew there just now is like, this is a little bit too much, but I would take the eyelid crease controls and kind of mimic what the brows are doing, so bring them in just a little bit. And also this is a really exaggerated chewing, right? Like her mouth is going side to side, and like you have a lot of like woo, like side to side to side. So I would just make sure that this nose is following a little bit more. You know, that might be too much. Well, no, I don't think that's too much, honestly. So just thinking about that nose going with it. Sometimes rig, I don't know if the Lindsay rig has it, but a lot of times on either the squash and stretch usually control, or sometimes even the mouth, there'll be a nose follow. So if it's set to 0, the nose won't follow at all what the mouth or the lower part of the jaw is doing. But if it's set to 10, you know, it will be like right next to it. So sometimes like 4 is a sweet spot, or right in between, whatever the values are for the rig. it's usually a sweet spot of kind of having a little bit of that nose movement, but then also not feeling too squishy or too rubbery, like the nose has no integrity. Because like the tips of our nose will move a lot with, especially if our mouth is going really side to side. But this part up, usually in our nose, that's where your hard cartilage is, and that won't move as much. Now, we cheat it a lot, especially with animators, to like, especially when you have characters to side, a lot of times you move even this part up here that shouldn't technically move. But especially if you're doing a really big chewing motion from the mouth going from the one extreme to the other, side to side, I would have a lot of that, that nose moving along with it. And especially here, I noticed it, like, see how much distance there is between her nose and her mouth? Now, we can get quite a bit of distance between the nose and the mouth because that's a really squishy area, and that there's a big muscle right here that can really pull your lips down or push them up. So I would still bring the nose down a little bit. So you don't want the nose to feel like it's moving around on the face a bunch, but just whenever she does this, like, ooh, like she's really got her mouth pulled down, I would pull this nose down just a bit. This might even be too much. But pulling it down with that mouth, so that way it feels like the mouth and the nose are connected. And so then when her mouth comes up and she goes into kind of that squash, the nose will kind of squash out. This is too much, but it's coming up, so it's going to squash the nose back up. And then what's coming down, the nose is going to come down ever so slightly and kind of like thin it out a little bit. So the nostrils might go in, or like the tip might scale in a bit. Yeah, noses are always hard to remember. Just for here, zoom in. Woo. Just for our eye shapes, I might try to get, Lindsay's a difficult rig to get an appealing eye shape on because out of the box, like, her default is not very appealing. So you kind of have to go in and sculpt in some eye poses, but I might try to do something a little bit. A bit like this. As a general rule of thumb, try to get a little bit rounder feelings on her eyes instead of, because she comes in with her eyes very much like, not this, but like round on top and then kind of like flat on the bottom. But then corners are really sharp, so you want to try to avoid that a bit. So you just kind of want to round out those corners, like here. These aren't perfect eye shapes, but and I still might have her be a little bit in that brow expression that she was previously. Something like that, like her eyes are here. Oops. Her eyelid creases are there. So for this expression here, I'd really try to get more of this with the eyebrows. It might be hiding the hair a little bit, but something like that. And then just really round those eyes out, especially on this like big surprise. Oops. If you can, like, really try to round them out and try to get these more concave. Or not concave, but bringing them in, converging them. Maybe something like that. That might be too much, but just, and also like bringing the eyes in a little bit always makes the character look cuter. So bringing them in always makes them just look a little bit cuter. And if you watch like anything from Boss Baby, the character's eyes are practically in their nose, like where they're looking, because it makes them look cute. And the further apart the eyes are, the more like offsetting or off-putting or unsettling the character looks. So that's just something to keep in mind. And here, make sure and like bring those crease controls up so you're getting more like this. For the mouth, I would cut in the corner here. Just get a bit more graphic of a shape. So maybe, you know, if I were to draw this, this might be too much. Let's see. Do I want teeth in this? Maybe not. No, you could have some. She kind of looks like Bugs Bunny right now. Let's see. This is just an idea. This is, mouth pose is not good, but also, hi John, it's John. Maybe something like that. That tongue is too big. Just getting a really graphic like shape with the mouth could be fun here. I'm just like, oh. And one of my favorite, let me actually bring up something that will help a lot. Let me switch so that way I can open it. But this is one of my favorite shots ever. Someone did with the Lindsay rig. Actually, it reminds me of your shot because it's Lindsay at the table. Let me find it. Here it is. I actually have a bookmark on my computer because this is one of my favorite shots. And I was going to do a shot with the Lindsay rig at one point, and I 100% wanted to steal some good facial posing ideas from, let me see, what's her name? Natalia Alexia, I think her name is. She's a fantastic animator, and she did this shot. Let me show you. And this is a really cool shot just to look at like how she poses the eyes on the Lindsay rig. So like just look at her eyes here of.
You guys are amazing cooks. Why didn't you tell me you guys were chefs?
Well, we didn't know before.
You didn't know you were chefs?
No.
That tastes delicious.
We're not like the best chefs in the world.
But it's so good. I love the way that she poses the eyes.
Tell me
Like
you guys
if we
were
just kind of look through. Here, you can kind of see how she poses the Lindsay rig eyes.
Best chefs in the world.
Like see how round they are, and she makes sure to not have those pinched corners on the sides of the eyes that the Lindsay rig has in her default state. So this is a really cool shot. I'll post the link to it. It's really nice to be able to look at this and see cool eye shapes, and to be able to just look at it and take inspiration from how she poses the eyes and see the essence. Obviously don't steal things, but it's a really good way to study of how she posed them, and then you can use that in your own shot of like just seeing how like they're very round on certain expressions and things. Like I remember I saw this shot and I had no idea what rig it was because someone sent me the rig and I was like, there's no way that's the same rig, because I wanted to do a kid shot really bad with a kid dialogue, and someone sent me the shot and then it was like, oh yeah, I found the rig, and it was the Lindsay rig, and I saw the marketing image for it. I was like, no way, that's not the same rig. But it's just because she posed it so appealing that it doesn't even look like the same rig, which is cool, just to shows how talented she is. So you can even see here, like see how round when she's looking up. Same thing here, so like bringing that down, thinking about how she posed the eyes, thinking about having this here and then straight but with like a slight bend to it. I noticed that's kind of how she poses the eyes on Lindsay, which I think is really successful in making her look cute as she can, while still using the eyes that she has, right? So maybe something even more like that, you know. And then taking those creases and making sure that the creases of the eye are over top of like where the iris is at right here, right? The apex of how tall it is needs to be over top. And same thing here, just watch out for the eyebrows, just make sure that they're flowing into each other nice. You know, right now, and like think of alligatoring the face, you're always gonna want one side to be open and one side to be closed for the most part. So right now you're kind of having this feeling, right? So same thing, so this brow will be highest, right? And then this brow will be a little bit lower, just so that way this side of the face is compressing, right? And this side of the face is expanding. So that's kind of the feeling that you're getting. Like even here you could possibly move the mouth over a little bit. You know. Maybe even moving this nose over a little bit more. Just there's lots of things that you can do to get that nice line of action through the face. Watching over and over here to see what the body's doing. I think there is a way here that you could punch up the timing of her going down to this antic to then reach, right? It just feels a little soft right now. I think until like 166 here. Let's see. I think you could stay in this pose. So you could stay in this extreme, this antic down, and then you could stay there for almost 9 or 10 more frames. And then pop into this. I think it could be nice to be like, ooh, and then she reaches, like you have that antic of like she's getting ready to like spring, you know, like a spring. It coils up and then she goes, oh, and then she like just lunges for it and she just reaches. And it's kind of showing like how much she has to struggle to get it, and that will kind of amp up to why she accidentally hits it and the pancakes fall over and all that happens. So yeah, I definitely think that you could, in fact, let me just... And then she goes into this, right? So we can just test it real quick. So maybe let's see if we do held. Oops, no, new sketch. Let's see how this looks. Hold on, first I have to delete this. Let's see. There we go. So she gets there around here, so let's try this. There. Yeah, I think you could do it of just like pop, like maybe not that quick, maybe here. Yeah, so I think you could definitely hold this for a little bit longer, like she's in here, and then she pops it into this and just a few more frames. So basically it will just be tightening up that spacing. Yeah, so basically like tightening up that spacing so that way she stays down in this extreme for a little bit longer until like 165 here, she's still down, right? I'm gonna draw her like a little gremlin, but right, she's still down like this, and then she'll shoot up into here. So it'll just be a little bit like snappier, and it'll just feel a little bit more alive, because right now it just feels a little soft. So just it'd be a little bit more sharp. So for this facial pose, let's see. Yeah, right now it's the same thing with like eye direction. It kind of feels like she's looking two different ways, so I'd converge those eyes like overall. You know, lift this. Really look at these eyes, maybe they're a bit wider. Something like that. A little bit more converged. She looks a little crazy right now, but maybe something like that. Bringing those creases over a little bit more. I'm not sure. I think there could possibly be a better mouth pose to do. Maybe we could do like, trying to think. Let me try something here, see if it works. I don't know. Could do like a little like ooh shape is what I'm thinking. But possibly if we do cut in on this mouth corner, so like bringing in that mouth corner as farthest away from camera, bringing it in Z, so that way you can just kind of hide it and like tuck it behind these cheeks. It makes for a really graphic mouth shape. That's always nice to do. You know, maybe she's more like this. Like she's really trying to reach for it. She's like, like trying to get it. I think that could just be a fun like change in facial expression too. Let's see. Maybe like you see a little bit of the teeth there. And she would be still kind of holding that same expression, you know, throughout here. Kind of like what you have here already, but just like a little bit of a different version of it. And here, same kind of notes about the eyes, round them out a bit. You know, bring in this corner, this eye corner, even if it's a bit cheated. Watch out, this eye feels like it's looking way over that way, so again, bringing them in. So kind of like the same note generally throughout the whole shot. It's like bring in the eyes, converge them a bit more, and round them out, kind of like Natalia's shot. This might be too far in. Yeah, it's too far. something like that. And then for this, I'd try to like cut in this mouth corner. Maybe something like that. You still got those lips and everything. Lips come out. Still the teeth are there, but just like basically like bringing in this mouth corner a bit to be a bit more graphic will help a lot. Let's see if there's anything else that I notice here. Let me watch the video, let's see where does it end. So for here, let's see. For here, like when she's eating this, I'd watch out. There's something weird about like, I don't know if you're translating the jaw down or if you're like rotating it or something. I'm not sure. There's something weird I feel like about the mass here underneath like this under cheek. So just check that and see. It almost feels like you're translating it down. So I'm not sure. So just watch out for that because it just feels like there's a lot of mass at the cheeks. It may be because maybe there's like some cheek puff or I don't know. Like make sure just the rounded cheeks are like here. This is kind of what I'm feeling. Almost like that bottom half of the face is too big and it should be like kind of that area. I'm not sure. So and then for here, let me zoom in. Maybe trying to get something a little more graphic with this. And you don't see it for much because her hand and like the snack is kind of covering most of it, but just trying to bring in this mouth corner a little bit. Just on the few frames that we do see it, it'd be nice. Something like this. You know, and then that's what you see at the teeth. And then you just see the tongue here. That would be a really nice like graphic shape, I think. If there's a way, it would be nice to get these lashes down, basically. Because right now they're kind of like setting here. They almost need to be setting here, if that makes sense. Like right now, because you can do, you know, eyes closed either this way or this way. Right? So you can kind of like put where the lash line is at. So I might here have it down. And I think this is fine because she's, you know, munching. I'd also make sure here when she's like going up and down with, you know, her, like she's chewing on it, make sure that these cheeks are being pressed up. Because right now I'm not sure if you're like animating the cheeks, but I'm feeling like this is very flat, right? Like I can even see like this flatness under the eye. Make sure that the cheeks feel like they're like pushing up when the mouth comes up. Oops. And then obviously like when they come down, also again, just watch out for here. Something weird. I don't know if it's like lots of translate Y with something or I don't know. So just try to like sculpt up that face a little bit. It just feels very wide for some reason. I don't know why, what's causing it. Or like here, watch out for this. Like that's kind of a weird deformation. Yeah, so like one thing that I would say generally overall to do is do an eye pass on shaping those eyes to make sure that they're kind of like not a Leah shot that we saw, right? Of like these round eyes, and you're kind of getting rid of those really pinched corners and making sure that they're kind of rounded out. And she has such nice appealing shapes. Try to do an eye pass, I would say, overall on, where's more of her? Yeah. Like see even here, like see how like they're round on top, and then you have a straight on bottom, but there's still a slight curve to it, just to keep that appeal there, right? So I think that would be a good thing, is to look through that, do a whole pass on your shot of just making sure that those eyes always look really nice and round. And because I found with the Lindsay rig, that's what makes her look youthful and like a kid, if she has those rounded tops on her eyes, and then like just round her eyes in general, and not those really sharp corners, or like, you know, see right here, like see how sharp that corner is, like, and it's out really far, like here, you know, you can get really round and then bring it in. You know, something like that will help a lot and just makes her feel very appealing overall. So yeah, I think that would be my main notes for you overall with this. And then as for the end, like I said, like maybe try shooting some more reference just to find a different gesture for this, you know, here, because it feels very similar. It's almost exactly what she does here. And I like this here. I think this works. Like this feeling of like her just like, it's cute with her hands. Like this is a very kid-like feeling that she's doing, like movement and gesture. And I love that. So keep that, and let's find something else for this ending that could be fun. Of maybe she just goes, like maybe she takes like a breath as she's chewing it, and or she acts like she's doing a sigh or something. Just something to be different. So I think that would be a good idea. And then some facial stuff, mainly making sure there's lots of appeal in the face by alligatoring it, right? Having one side squashed, one side stretched in the face. So, yeah. I think that would be my main notes overall. Do you have any questions, Liam? Let me check chat and stuff, make sure I haven't missed anything. Nice. Awesome, cool. Yeah, it's looking good. Can't wait to see your next pass. You're welcome. Cool. So now let me just double check, make sure no one's posted any more links. Okay, so next we have Sanjana. All right, cool. So hopefully Sanjana's here. Look. Okay. So hey, Sanjana. So Sanjana says, time for feedback. So just some notes on face and lip sync. So I can do that. Let me take a look, and we'll give you some notes on facials and lip sync.
Wow. No wonder people work. What am I going to do with all this money?
Nice.
Wow. No wonder people work.
Nice.
What am I going to do with all this money?
The lips.
Wow. No wonder people work. What am I going to do with all this money?
Okay, so let me take a look, just kind of like going through and... Okay, so here with this like lip shape, what I might do, I like it a lot. It just, now this is just kind of like refining and polishing like your facial poses and lip poses. Use another color, that way you can see it. I like this. I might try to tuck in, these are very little things, but I might try to like tuck in that corner a little bit more. And then get this lower lip almost like a little poutier, like rotate it or translate it over, or I guess over this way a little bit, so that way it's just like kind of like hanging, this an extreme example, but it's kind of like hanging out this way, like just a little bit more prominent, because right now it just feels a little lopsided, like the way that it's kind of is. because you're doing this nice like cheated mouth pose, like very graphic, so I would just kind of push that a little bit more. I really like how you have lots of directionality going on through like here in the head, in terms of like this brow is up and this one's down a little bit. I'd love to see that continued throughout the mouth, like, you know. Maybe something a little bit like this, possibly. This is probably too extreme, but I think it could be fun to have something just a little bit more sideways, like maybe even just, it's a matter of taking that mouth control, like main mouth mover, and just translating it over a little bit and rotate Z, and it will be your best friend. And I think honestly like the nose is good where it's at, maybe just a little bit more this way, but I'd be a little bit careful. I like how graphic you're being with like this mouth shape, but I feel like the darkness of like her mouth bag is in the opposite of where it should be. Like here should be where you have most of the space, and I would cut this in, right? So like this is a really fun mouth shape, but maybe try something like that. And then as for the inside of the mouth, that tongue feels like a little bit out of place to me. So if I were just to draw this on, again, like I love the idea, it's just little tweaks. Hope I draw the teeth in first so she doesn't look like terrifying. Right, so you have her teeth here. Maybe even the tongue, something like this, like it could be really cheated. You know, or maybe that would even mean like something like that, I think could possibly work. This might be too cheated, you might have to move this mouth as a whole over a little bit, but I think something like that would work a little bit better. One thing that's nice on Aya that is always like something you have to manually do because she will not do it for you is taking out this cheek a bit. Just a little bit, just to kind of like get things in silhouette. I think that could be kind of nice. Watch out for this eye. Again, super nitpicky little polishy stuff, but this is when a shot's fun because you're just doing like little polishy things of pose changes. I'd also try to get like the apex of like this a little bit more here, if that makes sense. Like where that curve is, just try to get a little bit more like into the iris area.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
I feel like this mouth shape on 83.
Wow.
Of course, I know like it's in step still, but I'm worried it might be a little late when you start splining if it stays like this. I might have it be start getting into it because this is still a pretty small mouth shape on like at 80. I would start trying to get into something a bit wider, you know, even if it's just kind of like getting it in between of like just a wider mouth shape to get into that, because I start here, it feels like it's going to be a little bit light if you spline it as is. So just kind of, and then she can go into this. I just feel like you're missing like a shape of her getting wider, like with the jaw. And since this is such a pushed expression, you'll need to put in an in-between that like works between those. Otherwise, you'll get some really weird looking in-betweens because this is so pushed, which is great. But just keep that in mind of like, you'll have to put something in between here that's a little bit wider, I think, to get into this. I might even move this tongue back just a little bit.
Oh, no wonder people. No. Oh, no.
And make sure once you get into starting to spline it, like I might even put it in my blocking now, I hear a really nice breath after she goes, wow, no wonder people work. Make sure that you're opening the jaw and like there's a little bit of like, no wonder people work. That will be really nice. And I love when there's breaths in audio because they're so fun to animate and they always look so good in a shot because a lot of people forget about breathing and it adds so much life to a character when done correctly. Now when done incorrectly, it just kind of looks like a character's like hyperventilating. So make sure that you are suggestive about where you use it and specific about where you use it. So you know, here you want to have like when she goes, you just want to have like some of that chest movement, the shoulders come up a little bit, make the arms come up a little bit, and then like, no wonder. And so then her jaw is gonna come down a little bit, and just feeling that breath will help a lot. This is a fun shape. I might push it a little bit more though, of like, just like basically getting that bottom lip a little bit further over. And like here, same thing, like getting this bottom lip. Just moved over there. It just feels like a little like lopsided and like how it's coming to the other way. And I think it could be pushed to be a little more graphic. Watch out for this curly Q business going on here. There's something going on with like a hook in her mouth. I'm not sure if that's just a weird deformation or something going on, or just try to clear that out a little bit. And there's also some weird shadowing here. I don't know if you're trying to like push it really far, so like you're moving that like nasal fold or something, but something looks a little odd. Make sure on here, wonder, you'll want to see that one, you'll want to see that tongue move up to hit the roof of her mouth. Like here, you want to see that tongue come up. Wonder. D shapes, like no wonder. I want to see more teeth because like if you try to do a NDT, it'll be the back, your tongue will be hitting the roof of your mouth. So wonder people work. No wonder. Like you'll want to see those teeth kind of together a little bit. It's almost like you're doing a like you're using the same lip or mouth shape because your jaw's gonna be pretty closed in order for your tongue to hit the top of your roof of your mouth and make that D or T sound. Because D is a little bit further back, T is a little bit more forward of a tongue movement. Because especially since she's going from wonder, so that end is where the tongue's going to hit the top of the mouth, so that's when you need your jaw to start closing. And then wonder, that der is when she's going to be making that sound, but with her tongue in the back of her mouth. So here I might want to see like this jaw a little bit more closed. Something like this. You know, wonder. because also she's a wonder, so you'll want to see. Here. You know, you'll want to see those teeth. Wonder. And then you can go basically from that E, like into P, like people work. Here you'll want to start getting into that P shape. Wonder people, because she's got people. So here's your first. This will be like, this is good, this is P. This will be E, P. So you'll basically just be opening those lips. People. So, you know, you'll just want to open it a little bit. This might even be too far. Make sure you have the tongue coming out for the all on people.
People work.
I'm not sure about the. I think I would get rid of this mouth shape because she's not.
People work.
Because she's just gonna go from that people work. So she's just going into that W shape. You don't need to close the lips and the mouth here. I'm not sure if that was an accident or anything, but just I would go straight into this on 129. People, and that'll also give you a moment, like another frame for the tongue to go down. People work, and then go out.
Work. What am I gonna do with all this?
Watch out for this. This is that Aya issue that I've had so many times where, like, if she's looking too far this way, you have to really fake trying to get this eye out, this lid. Sometimes bringing the crease over can help, like taking those micro controls and like having to sculpt over a crease and sculpt an eye over there, but it helps, so maybe try that. Also try to get a little more graphic here if you can. I know it's Aya and she has lipstick on, so you have the double the fun.
What am I? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with all this money?
Right now I'm missing like what am I gonna do? What am I? I want that like what am I? I'm not seeing that like jaw open for it. Like this I'm guessing is like your I want to see like more jaw open. For the this might be too much what I'm drawing, but like just if you get the essence of like the jaw really opens there for wah and what. And then from what, because this is a hard dialogue section where it could be really chattery really quick if you're not careful, because it's, what am I going to do with all this money? And that's a lot of consonants and like lots of close together and M's. What am I, so find your accents with the jaw. So what am I is gonna do, like what am I gonna do with all this money? So the first one is going to be the what, the ah on what. And then you're just going to close from there. What am I? And then it's just going to close. So that way you're not going to go, what am I? Like you're not going to open and close on every one. It's just simplifying those jaw rotations. That way you don't run into like chattery lip sync going into it. This is a nice ooh shape. Yeah, and like here, I'd start to even get the tongue out here to make that width. So you need to have like a little bit of teeth showing, so that way she can, that tongue come up with. And like here, watch out, like right now this feels like it's facing this way, but then everything here feels like it's facing this way, so her face feels kind of like twisted a little bit. So here I would start to get, get it more 3/4 the other way. Like this is kind of when you're going to switch over to that other side.
What do with all this money?
I'm missing like a little bit of a jaw open here for money. You don't want money, like you don't want a really broad one, but you just want a little bit like money, like almost like a like here I hear it on 200. If I could draw, okay, there we go. Let's see. 2. Maybe more. I bet you can even punch it a little bit more than that. Money. She is saying it fast and she's going into another M shape, so don't like pop the jaw really far for money, but wait, maybe you could. Sometimes I say things and then I hear myself say them, I'm like, wait, no, actually that makes sense, so bear with me, but money, maybe you could actually try it. See if you could pop this more. Also, what is the thing I just drew? I don't like it. Hold on. Let's see. Money. Okay, let's try something like that. There we go. You could possibly even go further than this. Like, because also I'm missing the mon, the n. So like here I start to hear the n, so that's where you want to see the tongue start to come up. So if the mouth is open, like more open, right? I'll try an extreme example just to get the gist of it. But you need to have that tongue. That way we can see that tongue coming up for money. So tongue.
money? What are you gonna do with all this money? What are you gonna do with all this money?
And maybe this is your like this honestly could be your money. And then for money, I want to see lots of teeth for that E, because right now it's just money, money, money. She seems like she's like talking like with her lip down. So literally just taking this entire like mouth pose and taking it up so that way you see more teeth. Right. Literally just that way you can see this E. Like this. This makes her look very evil, but because right now I'm losing that E. I'm not seeing it.
Money.
And then she can close into that, right?
Wow. No wonder people work. What am I gonna do with all this money?
Nice.
Wow. No wonder people work. What am I gonna do with all this money? Wow. Wow. No wonder people work. What am I gonna do with all this money?
Also, just watch out, like, just for once you start getting into splining, the eyes are going a lot of different places right now, which can be fun sometimes, right? Like, to have, especially since she's walking into this room and she's, like, taking it in and she's taking inventory, right, of what's there. Like, oh, what am I going to do with all this money? So,
Wow. No.
like, just, I'm watching, like, see right here, like, there's just a lot going on with the eyes. And Aya, like, you can get away with very, very small eye darts because she has bowling balls for eyes. So that's just a random thing that I thought of just to be aware of, like, when you start getting further into spline and stuff.
People work. What am I gonna do with all this money?
Or, like, even here.
Work.
Like, you may not even need this eye dart here before she just looks down.
What?
And, like, I may get rid of this one, too. And then just have them be low. Like, there's just lots of movement. Like, you can still have these general beats of eye darts, but just have them be very, very small. Like, 20% of what you have now. Just to have, and that's something you'll figure out once you start splining, because especially movement with the body, like, will change how your eye darts look. But just having, like, very small little micro darts, I think will help a lot, instead of having, like, eye, like, boom, 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 because it give her moments of silence, so to be able to read her face. Because a lot of times during an eye dart that's big, we can't read an expression super clear, because there's with a character that has this big of eyes, it's 80% of her face. So just keep that in mind.
What am I gonna do?
I'd watch out for this eye shape. I try to get a little bit more of this. You know, wherever the eye ends up being. Just like rounding that out a bit. Bringing this over, rounding this out.
What am I gonna do with all this money?
But yeah, I think that'd be my main notes on like facials and like lip sync for this. I think you're on your way, and like you have lots of really nice graphic shapes with the mouth, especially. I think it's just now about like polishing them up and really tightening them up so that way they're like exactly what you want before you start going into splining them all and all that. But yeah, I think it's looking good so far. Do you have any questions or anything else before I move on? And also I saw someone said you enjoy the reviews. Awesome. Where you can submit shots. So we have, right now we're doing like, this is a feedback program that we do for several students that we got a few months ago, and we do this, or doing this with them through a feedback program for 3 months. So let me send you a link. We do have a Discord though, and sometimes we can have extra time for more shots or something. So let me send you a link. Okay, here's a link to our Discord if anyone wants to join. Oh, there we go. Sin's got it. Yep, that's all our Discord and our Instagram, so that way you can also see whenever we're posting, we're going live. We do feedback sessions in case anyone's new here. We do feedback sessions on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So all the times are in PT, and you can go on our Instagram and you can see kind of our schedule. And a lot of times we have special interviews on Saturdays, or we'll be doing demos in the future, stuff like that. So yeah, so you can, there's a feedback channel on that the Discord that Sin put to, same one. And sometimes if we have extra time, we open it up for more feedback or things like that. So just depends week to week. But yeah, I think that's about it. And I actually do have time today. I just realized, because our first critique was kind of shorter since it wasn't a full shot. If anyone does have something they'd want me to look at, like, I know it's kind of randomly, but if anyone wants something, has a shot or a link for me to look at before I go, I have about 30 more minutes, so time for one more critique. If anyone has anything, but if not, no worries. Or if anyone has any questions or just wants to talk, I'm here. Yes, and as Sin said, we have 2 awesome guests tomorrow. We have the power couple, Robert Lanning and Taylor Gessler. We're gonna do an interview with them. So you can submit questions to them on our Instagram. I think we have, like, on Sin's story too, she has a place for questions, or you can send them to Taylor, whoever, on Instagram. But they are amazing. So Taylor's at Disney right now, and Robert's at Luma. So lots of experience, lots of cool things you can ask them. Oh, John, check my DM. Okay, let's see. Is it the baby John? Oh, beautiful. Hold on, I have to download it. I'm downloading the baby. Jazz baby. It's beautiful. John, can I show it to the world? Let me see. I'll get your permission before I show it, since it's not a Sing Sketch link. It's beautiful, John. Yes, if anyone has any links, please send, but if not. You want to show it? Okay, cool. It's amazing. It's worth showing. Let's see. This is the baby. I love him so much. That's awesome, John. It looks so good. Now you just need to add the snapping of this guy up here. It cracks me up. And, like, the snapping, I love it. It looks like it makes no sense to the rhythm of what he's actually doing. It's so good. Oh, I love it. Honestly, John, this looks great. Like, all you really need is some... Oh, he's already got... I saw that he has snapping in this hand for a little bit. Nice. Oh, it's so good, John. His fingers are tiny. I saw it, though. I totally missed it, but at the beginning, he is snapping. Look at him go. All you need is just add some blinks in there, some facials. This is good to go, John. I love this. 10 out of 10. Did you end up doing, like, a constraint system to make the spine pivot from the top? Because it looks really good, whatever you did, because I was thinking about that, and I was like, oh, that would be hard. Yes. Oh, John, is there more to it? Is this it? That'd be awesome. Oh, yay, I'm glad that my lip sync notes helped. That's good. That makes me happy. Lip sync is fun. It's one thing that took me so long to get the hang of, and I still struggle with making things really graphic and trying to think of it like that, but once, like, you get good lip sync in, it feels so good. It just makes a shot come alive, and it's such a fun thing to polish up too. Yeah, John, this is amazing. I want to make this my virtual background, so that way there's just a baby, like, dancing, like, right here. This isn't the intro. Yes, John, this best be the intro to your reel. Please. Rotate the hip control? Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, especially since those hips are so isolated. It's so good. I love it. Yeah, make this the intro to your reel, please. Yep. And then throughout the reel, he's just dancing at, like, the bottom. It's a loop, and he just goes all the way back, and then he comes again. Please do that. It will make me happy forever. Perfect. Okay, well, if no one has, like, any extra things they want me to look at or give more feedback on or anything, I mean, I don't really know what could top John's baby shot, so best we maybe call it quits now while we're ahead. But yeah, if that's it, then I think I'll end it today. And all of these feedback sessions are recorded and are put up on Twitch for, I think, 2 weeks. They only keep them for 2 weeks, and then we actually download them and put them on YouTube. And yes, this is the end of the stream. Like, we started at 1 p.m. PT, so it's been, I think, almost 2 hours now. So, sorry. Well, hopefully next time you can be there. We didn't have too many people today, and no one has feedback, so if anyone has questions or anything, I'm here. Oh, Sin. I'm not awesome. Sin, can we just switch skills? Because I'll be getting all the skills, and you'll be getting the short end of the deal. All I can do is an offset Pixar blink whenever I shoot reference Sin. That's all you'd be getting. And I don't know how much that gives you, so. Oh, no, Sin. But alright, well, I think, and I accidentally just turned off my keyboard. Oops. But, yeah, if that's it, if no one else has any questions or anything, I think I'll end it there today. But great work, everyone. I can't wait to see you next week. And yes, please tune in tomorrow for Robert and Taylor and all of their awesome advice and feedback that they're going to give. And we're actually going to talk a little bit too about a rig that we're all making together, so that'll be cool. You can see a little behind the scenes sneak peeks of the modeling and stuff, and if you want to, you can follow them on Instagram. It's Wonderwell Studios. You can see updates on the rig, so I think they'll be talking about that a lot because Taylor also did all the concept art for the rig, and we're in modeling right now, like final stages of modeling, so that will be a cool thing to see and to talk about. So, little extra thing. Yes, first official rig release on stream. We're not releasing it tomorrow, but we're talking about it tomorrow, so you can ask all the questions about it. So, yeah, it's looking really good. It's exciting. So you can see progress updates on Wonderwell Studios if you want to look at it. It's pretty snazzy. So that'll be hopefully a cool thing that we can see students start to use, like the rig, and that'll be nice. But, oh yeah, congrats, Sherry. That's awesome. Yeah, so I think if that's it, I will call it a day on the stream. So thank you everyone for coming, and tune in tomorrow to see Robert and Taylor, and yeah, Sin just posted all the Discord and Instagram links so you can come see it, and the rig link, so extra little fun thing to take a look for. But yeah, cool. Awesome, Izzy. Yeah, for sure. We're doing these, like I said, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and then sometimes we have open feedback, and we also have a feedback channel in the Discord that you can post your link to, and sometimes people will give notes and help each other out, so it just depends, but yeah, looking forward to see it. But thank you so much, everyone, and I will see you next time. Hopefully see you tomorrow.